On a dark Halloween night, Julia was sitting alone in her old house. She heard strange noises coming from the basement of a house she had never entered before. As she sat there, a chill crept into her bones as she heard her heartbeat quicken. Julia began to walk cautiously toward the stairs leading to the basement, and when she reached the old wooden door, she heard a noise closer this time. Suddenly the lights went out and darkness enveloped the place. She heard footsteps slowly approaching her, and before she could open the door to escape, she felt something cold touch her hand, and a voice whispered in her ear, "You'll stay here forever." As Julia stood there in complete darkness, she felt terror creep into her trembling heart. She began to tremble violently, unable to locate the source of the voice whispering in her ear. Suddenly, a single candle slowly lit up in the dark corner of the cellar, revealing a shadowy figure wearing old clothes and a black veil covering her face. The candle began waving strangely and emitting terrifying sounds. Julia tried to scream and escape, but found herself trapped in the darkness, unable to move. The candle slowly drew closer, and when she was only a few steps away, it suddenly died out, and darkness descended again. As Julia was gripped by fear and panic, she heard a terrifying sound rising from the cellar. The sound of someone laughing in a frightening and terrifying way. Then, without warning, the light went out again, and the sounds faded away, leaving Julia alone in complete darkness. In complete darkness, Julia found herself moving among piles of old boxes and discarded furniture. She felt panic and fear creeping in, not knowing whether she was dreaming or whether this terrible nightmare was real. Suddenly, Julia heard a noise closer, as if something was moving in the darkness. The sounds became more distinct, and she could even hear footsteps approaching her quickly. Then, in a flash, a mysterious figure appeared before her. She was wearing old, tattered clothing, her face covered in shadows. She smiled terrifyingly and cautiously approached Julia, who was trembling with fear. Suddenly, before the dark figure could touch Julia's hand, the lights suddenly flickered on, and Julia realized she had been having a terrifying nightmare. Julia breathed a sigh of relief, but suddenly she heard a voice from the basement whispering in a demonic tone, "You haven't escaped yet. You'll be here forever." As Julia stood there, stunned, she heard another voice emanating from the dark depths of the cellar. A terrifying voice whispering her name loudly and fearfully. Swallowing her doubt and audacity, Julia began to wonder if this was just a trick, or if something real was happening in this dark cellar. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath Julia's feet, and she heard a loud boom fill the cellar. She was surprised to see a massive portal unfold before her, revealing a mysterious passageway that seemed to extend into the depths of darkness. Without hesitation, Julia decided to continue down this dark passageway. As she walked, a chill crept into her bones as she passed the ancient columns and mysterious symbols that covered the walls. After hours of walking in the dark, Julia arrived at a large room illuminated by an eerie blue light. There, standing in the corner, she found an old sealed box with a burning candle in front of it. Julia stood in front of the ancient box, hesitating whether to open it. The burning candle in front of the box cast eerie shadows on the wall, and the dark, quiet atmosphere of the room only heightened Julia's anxiety. After a few moments of hesitation, Julia decided to be brave and reveal the box's secret. Despite her fear, she slowly began to open the box, and when the contents were revealed, she found a frightening old doll that looked just like her. Starving, Julia stepped back and dropped the candle she was holding. The light went out again, but this time, the shadows moved strangely around her. She heard demonic voices surrounding her, and her sense of fear grew. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a loud scream, and when the lights came back on, she found herself surrounded by a group of evil dolls. After opening the ancient and terrifying box, a strong, musty smell pervaded the room, as if emanating from the folds of ancient times. Inside the box were strange and frightening possessions, hinting at a mysterious and dark past. Deep inside, I found an old, faded photograph of an unknown person whose eyes seemed to follow my movements tirelessly, as if silently pleading for help. Beside the photograph, there was a broken necklace dangling from its old chain, from which dripped dried blood, adding to the terrifying scene. Amidst these possessions was an old, tattered book, seemingly containing secrets that were not meant to be revealed. The pages were filled with strange inscriptions and cryptic texts, which seemed to move when you looked at them in surprise. Suddenly, strange and terrifying music rose from within the box, as if trying to tell a dark story across time. The atmosphere began to fill with tension and terror, amid an eerie silence that pervaded the room. As you headed toward the box to close it, you heard faint footsteps approaching you from the darkness, but you couldn't see anything. Suddenly, you sensed something dark and strange surrounding you, making your heart beat rapidly as if trying to escape the terrifying mirage that had spread around you. Thus, Easter night passed, casting its terrifying and mysterious shadows. The terrifying box cast its evil spell on those who encountered it, leaving behind memories that will remain etched in your memory forever. Finally, thank you for following, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. If you like it, I will tell you more.